Hey warriors, you ever notice how some men walk through life like the world quietly rearranges itself for them, while you keep crashing into invisible walls you didn't even know existed? That's not luck. That's power born from laws no one ever bothered to teach you. Laws that protect the few and blind the many. People predict your reactions, exploit your emotions, and underestimate you because they know exactly how you'll behave long before you do. But it only takes 5 Machiavellian laws to flip the entire game in your favor. Stay with me. These are the 5 laws that transformed my life forever, and once you hear them, you'll never see people the same way again. Before we begin, do something right now. Hit subscribe, not for support, but as the first symbolic act of choosing your own evolution, instead of settling for the version the world designed for you. This mentorship will not comfort you. It will provoke you, challenge you, and pull you away from the predictable path that's been robbing you of power your entire life. Let's start with something your father probably couldn't teach you, not because he didn't care, but because he never learned it himself. The world is engineered to reward a certain kind of man, the man who moves strategically, not emotionally, the man who predicts behavior instead of reacting to it, the man who understands perception instead of begging for recognition, and most painfully, the man who knows how to use distance, silence, and selective access as weapons instead of weaknesses. In every room you've ever walked into, someone was assessing you, measuring you, calculating who they could be around you. Were you a threat, a tool, a harmless presence, a man to ignore? The majority of men spend their lives being evaluated without ever evaluating back. That is why they lose before the interaction even begins. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than the hand." Modern translation: people respond to what they perceive about you long before they care about what's true. You've been living under perceptions you didn't create, controlled by interpretations you never shaped. And that is exactly where the first law begins. To transform your life, you must learn to manage the version of you that others experience, not the version trapped inside your own mind. Because the first law of Machiavellian power is brutal in its simplicity. Control what people think you are, not what you hope they eventually see. Most men spend their life trying to be understood, trying to prove themselves, trying to convince the world they're good, loyal, hard-working, honest. But understand this clearly: people don't reward honesty, they reward advantage. They don't admire transparency, they admire mystery. They don't elevate the predictable, they elevate the unreadable. In every social ecosystem, value is assigned emotionally, not logically. People don't calculate your worth based on facts. They estimate your worth based on how you make them feel about your presence. You've probably noticed this. The man who demands recognition rarely gets it. The man who quietly radiates authority doesn't need to ask for anything. Let me give you a real example. 2 men walk into a workplace. One immediately tries to be friendly, liked, accepted. He shares details about himself, tries to win trust, tries to fit in. Nobody respects him. They may like him, but they don't value him. Meanwhile, another man arrives, silent, composed. He listens more than he speaks, observes more than he reveals, and holds a slight emotional distance. People can't figure him out. They approach him cautiously. They treat him with more care. Why? Because the unknown commands more respect than the familiar. This is the law your father didn't teach you. He taught you to be a good man. He didn't teach you to be a powerful man. The world never rewards goodness by itself. It rewards selective goodness, delivered strategically, not offered blindly. Machiavelli said, men should either be caressed or annihilated. What he meant was simple: never exist in the middle, never be lukewarm, Never allow people to place you in a neutral category where you bring no consequence and no benefit. You must appear valuable or dangerous, useful or unpredictable, but never soft and available. This is the transformation I began when I first discovered Machiavelli. I stopped trying to convince people. I stopped explaining myself. I stopped correcting false assumptions. Instead, I started controlling the assumptions from the beginning. I gave people less information, fewer reactions, and zero access to my emotional world. That's when everything changed. Most men misunderstand power because they believe power is something you acquire after success. But real Machiavellian power is established long before success through perception, positioning, and emotional distance. You become powerful the moment people suspect you might be, not when they confirm it. Suspicion builds intrigue. Certainty kills mystique. Look around your own life. Notice how the people who appear busy, unavailable, mysterious, somehow feel more important than those who are always around. That isn't an accident. That is a psychological positioning strategy. Presence creates familiarity. Familiarity destroys status. This is why celebrities become legendary when they disappear. Scarcity multiplies perceived value. And here is the painful truth you were trained to be: open, emotionally available, expressive, honest. Society told you emotional transparency builds connection, but Machiavelli taught the opposite. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. That doesn't mean lying. It means withholding your real position until you gain leverage. Let me give you another scenario. A disagreement happens at work. The average man argues, justifies, explains, tries to win the emotional battle. The Machiavellian man goes silent. He listens. He observes patterns. He asks minimal questions. Guess who they worry about later? Not the emotional reactor, the silent one. Silence forces others to fill in the blanks, and they always imagine something more powerful than what's real. That leads us directly to the second power law. Control your reaction, and you control the entire battlefield. Most men destroy their opportunities because they respond emotionally. If someone disrespects them, they lash out. If someone ignores them, they panic. If someone challenges them, they argue. This makes them predictable, and predictable men lose before the game begins. When I applied this, everything shifted. People stopped provoking me because there was no payoff. They stopped insulting because my reaction didn't feed their ego. They stopped testing me because my silence made them uncomfortable. Eventually, they began treating me with caution, not because I demanded respect, but because I removed the emotional access that allowed them to manipulate me. Understand this. Emotional withdrawal is not weakness. It is tactical dominance. The man who reacts emotionally is controlled by others. The man who hides his emotions controls himself, and therefore everyone around him. Once you master controlled reactions, the world begins revealing its true face to you. People who once spoke freely now choose their words carefully. People who once pushed your limits now hesitate before crossing a line. And people who once underestimated you suddenly start treating you as if you know something they don't. That shift isn't accidental. It's psychological gravity. When you hold your inner world firmly, your outer world rearranges itself around you. This leads us to the third power law. Never offer more than necessary information, emotion, effort, or presence. Weak men overshare because they fear being misunderstood. They fear silence. They fear judgment. But the moment you explain yourself, you shrink your aura. You invite people into your mind, and once they're inside, they rearrange your self-worth. Machiavelli warned, "Men judge more by the eye than the hand." Meaning, they judge what you reveal, not who you are. So, reveal less. Always less. Watch how this plays out in real life. A man trying to impress a woman talks endlessly about his plans, his dreams, his problems. She nods, but feels nothing. Another man says almost nothing, listens, observes, and leaves early. She thinks about him all night. Why? Scarcity, restraint, presence without overexposure. This applies everywhere. In business, the man who outlines every detail loses negotiation power. In friendships, the man who rushes to fix everything becomes the emotional trash can. In family, the man who reveals every vulnerability becomes the one they guilt into sacrifices. You must discipline your openings. Let people earn access to you one layer at a time. And the moment you stop offering yourself freely, something powerful happens. People start competing for your attention. They try harder. They choose their behavior more carefully. They treat you like a resource, not an option. This is not arrogance. This is psychological economics. Human beings value what requires effort, but restraint is not enough. Power Law 4 is what transforms your life entirely. Always strike with purpose, never with impulse. The average man acts fast because he wants relief from discomfort. The powerful man acts slow because he wants results. Timing is everything. The wrong move made quickly destroys advantage. The right move made calmly creates dominance. When you stop reacting impulsively and start acting strategically, the world stops dragging you and starts following you. And this brings us to something most men never learn until life forces it into them. Strategic timing means letting people reveal themselves before you reveal your intentions. It means observing before engaging, listening before speaking, thinking before acting. When you master timing, you stop chasing opportunity and start positioning yourself for it. Let me give you a scenario. A colleague tries to provoke you in front of others, waiting for you to lash out emotionally. A weaker man reacts instantly, defends himself, maybe even gets angry. A stronger man says nothing, keeps eye contact, and walks away. Later, when the room is calm, the stronger man corrects the situation through authority and facts, not emotion. Which version commands respect? Exactly. Machiavelli said, "He who becomes master of his emotions becomes master of advantage." Most men waste their advantage because their feelings react faster than their strategy. But when you slow down your responses, you make other people uncomfortable. They start questioning what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you're capable of. Uncertainty is power. Now listen carefully, because here is where most men get completely trapped in life. They think success is about doing more, when true power is about doing less strategically. Every move costs energy. Every decision reshapes reputation. Every reaction trains people how to treat you. So why rush? Why give away leverage just because your emotions are impatient? Think about money. The emotional man spends impulsively, earns based on need, and panics during uncertainty. The strategic man invests based on timing, builds based on opportunity, and thrives during uncertainty. Wealth favors patience, not speed. Control, not desperation. The same applies to relationships. The man who needs constant approval becomes predictable. Predictable becomes boring. Boring becomes replaceable. The man who chooses when to respond, when to reveal affection, when to step forward, he becomes unforgettable. But here comes the next transformation inside you. Once you control your emotions, your timing, your reactions, your presence, you enter Law 5. Never let others feel they can predict you. Predictability destroys influence. Mystery creates gravity. The less they know, the more they wonder. The more they wonder, the more power you hold. People must never feel sure about how you will respond, what you truly think, or what your next move might be. Because the moment you become predictable, the world becomes comfortable with trying to control you. And this is where men lose the game without even realizing they've stepped onto the board. They become predictable because they crave stability more than power. They repeat the same habits, give the same reactions, show the same emotions, and wonder why people stop respecting them. Predictability is comfortable, but comfort is the death of influence. You must understand something brutally honest. People fear what they cannot anticipate. People control what they can predict. So when your emotions, your tone, your availability, and your decisions all follow a pattern, you're no longer a threat, you're a script. And people read scripts, manipulate scripts, rewrite scripts. But a man who refuses to be predictable becomes an equation no one can solve. Let me show you what unpredictability looks like in real life. Someone disrespects you. The average man argues. The emotional man reacts. The weak man tries to fix it. The strategic man, he goes silent. He recalibrates. He studies. And he makes a move when the timing amplifies the impact. Maybe he distances himself. Maybe he removes access. Maybe he cuts the person out entirely. The point is, no one sees it coming, and that is what gives the move its force. Or imagine someone is trying to guilt trip you. Instead of defending yourself, explaining, or apologizing, you remain unmoved, almost bored. Your stillness becomes their discomfort. Your calm becomes their frustration. The more they reach for control, the more they lose it. This is emotional warfare at its finest. Machiavelli warned, "Never show your whole nature." And this is why. Once someone fully understands you, they own the blueprint to your mind. They know which words trigger you, which people influence you, which fears haunt you, and which weaknesses can be pressed at the right moment. But when you become a mystery, controlled, confident, unreadable, you become unbreakable. Unpredictability does not mean chaos. It means controlled variation. Sometimes you respond fast, sometimes slow. Sometimes you confront, sometimes you walk away. Sometimes you reveal your thoughts, sometimes you reveal nothing. People lose their power over you because they cannot anchor themselves to your patterns. And here's the deeper truth. You don't create unpredictability for others. You create it for yourself. Because the moment you stop living by emotional reflex, you start living by strategic intention. And that is the moment you begin shaping your life instead of reacting to it. When you operate with strategic intention instead of emotional reflex, something shocking begins to happen around you. People start watching you. They pause before speaking to you. They measure their tone. They choose their words more carefully. Why? Because uncertainty breeds respect. The less predictable you are, the more power they think you hold. It's human psychology. It's Machiavellian physics. Look around your life for a second. Notice how the calmest man in every room holds more gravity than the loudest one. Notice how the man who gives the shortest answers gets asked the most questions. Notice how the man who speaks slowly forces others to lean in. Power is not volume. Power is presence. Presence built on disciplined inner control. Your father taught you survival, not dominance, because he was trying to make sure you lived long enough to learn the truth on your own. But survival isn't enough anymore. Survival keeps you safe. Strategy makes you dangerous. This is the part men miss. The calm you're chasing isn't emotional numbness. It's emotional sovereignty. Coldness does not mean empty. It means measured. It means you allow yourself to feel but not respond from those feelings. A strategic man feels everything internally and expresses almost nothing externally. That contrast is what intimidates people. Because when you don't react emotionally, they lose their weapon. You become unreadable. And unreadable men hold leverage. This is why emotional restraint is one of the most terrifying strengths a man can develop. You turn every emotional situation into a chessboard. And while the other person screams, argues, panics, begs, or threatens, you remain still watching, studying, calculating. You are already 5 moves ahead while they're still trying to shake your composure. There's a reason Machiavelli said, "A wise man should always appear calm." Not be calm, appear calm. Because your expression is a performance, a mask, a declaration of power. People assume your silence means confidence. They assume your distance means superiority. They assume your lack of fear means you see more than they do. And assumptions are powerful. Assumptions create myth. Myth creates reputation. Reputation controls others long before you open your mouth. Never argue for dominance. Project it. Your silence is the statement. Your calm is the threat. And once people feel that shift in you, their behavior changes before you even ask it to. They start seeking your approval instead of assuming they already have it. They start watching your reactions, hoping they didn't say something that lowers your opinion of them. They start treating you like a man whose presence must be earned, not a man whose presence is freely available. This is where true leverage begins. Because when your energy becomes expensive, people start paying attention to the smallest details. They become careful. They become respectful. They become predictable. And predictability is a gift to a strategic mind like yours. Understand this. Most people operate on emotional autopilot. They reveal their intentions through tone, posture, impulsive decisions, over-explanations, unnecessary apologies, nervous laughter, passive-aggressive comments. But you, now that you've detached your reactions from your emotions, see all of it clearly. You see the cracks in their confidence. You see the insecurity behind their jokes. You see the motive behind their kindness. You are no longer participating in the game. You are analyzing it. This is what separates average men from Machiavellian ones. Awareness. Not emotional awareness, tactical awareness. The ability to detect power, pressure, weakness, leverage, opportunity. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. It becomes impossible to fall for manipulation that once fooled you. Impossible to be guilt-tripped by people who contributed nothing to your life. Impossible to be controlled by affection, rejection, validation, or silence from others. Because your center of gravity moves from external to internal, you no longer respond to people, people respond to you. Their anger doesn't move you. Their approval doesn't elevate you. Their rejection doesn't wound you. Their silence doesn't scare you. You become emotionally untouchable. And this terrifies people who rely on emotional leverage to control others. They hate when a man develops self-mastery because their power depended on your softness. They can't use embarrassment to weaken you. They can't use guilt to stop you. They can't use fear to redirect you. You are no longer a puppet, no longer a predictable reaction machine. You are a strategist now, a man who chooses his responses like a weapon, not like a reflex. And when a man reaches this mental state, the entire dynamic of his life changes. Relationships shift, opportunities multiply, boundaries strengthen. The world reacts differently because you move differently. And that's where most men make their biggest mistake. They think the transformation ends when they stop being emotional. They think calmness equals power. But calmness is only the doorway. The real ascent begins when you learn to project certainty, even when you're still building yourself. See, people don't follow the strongest man. They follow the most certain man. And certainty is rare because certainty requires responsibility. Responsibility for your choices, your direction, your mission, your consequences. Most men avoid that weight. They'd rather blame obstacles than outrun them. They'd rather complain about circumstances than dominate them. But a Machiavellian mind doesn't complain. It calculates, it adapts, it studies, It looks at every situation as a battlefield demanding precision. And that precision begins with identity. Not the identity the world gave you, the identity you forged yourself. Your job now is to rewrite the way you show up everywhere. When you speak with minimal words. When you move with purpose. When you listen, you dissect motives. When you decide, you do so with a steady pulse. You become a man whose silence is louder than most people's speeches. People think confidence is loud. It's not. The loudest man in the room is usually trying to convince himself. The truly confident man rarely explains, rarely announces, rarely argues. His certainty speaks before he does. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. Men follow those who appear destined to win. They obey those who look unshakable. They admire those who don't need admiration. You must become that man. And here's the consequence. The moment you step into this psychological evolution, you'll trigger something extremely uncomfortable. People close to you will feel threatened, not because you're changing, but because your change exposes their stagnation. They will accuse you of being arrogant, distant, or complicated. They will claim you think you're better than them. Good, let them. Growth always threatens those who fear their own potential. They need you small so they never have to confront their own limitations. They need you emotional so they can control you. They need you predictable so you never outgrow the role they placed you in.